and I will admit all and let y'all take it from there.
Elizabeth, I'll let you talk first.
Okay.
Good afternoon. It is afternoon. Yes, it is afternoon. I'm glad you all could join us today. As you come into the room, if you would just like to share in the chat box your name, where you are from, and what role you play in your school, that would be fabulous. And we will begin as closely to noon as possible. So let's see, do we have some people introducing? Yay, we've got some people coming in through the chat box. That's wonderful. Again, I'm so glad you could take the time out of your summer to gain a little bit of learning for yourself and be able to share that with your students. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen and see if we can get ready to get started. Fabulous. Again, thank you for coming today. This is the 6th of 7 Tactile Tuesdays, and today we're talking about Edpuzzle and some of the basics of that tool. Let's see. My name is Karen Leonard. I am the Director of Education Technology and Computer Science at the Oklahoma State Department of Education. I have been involved in the world of education for nearly 25 years now, and I have held teaching positions in Ohio, Georgia, and Oklahoma, anything from K-8 and ELA, geography, gifted, technology. And I would like to introduce my co-moderators today. One co-moderator is Elizabeth. Could you tell us your position and say hi to everyone?
Yeah, hi everyone. Welcome to the session today. I'm Elizabeth Mon. I'm the Director of Fine Arts at the Oklahoma State Department of Education, and I am also the Director of AP, Advanced Placement. So music, drama, theater, dance, visual art, and AP, all the above is what I take care of. So I'm happy to be here today helping Karen with this session. I know lots of teachers have found value in it, and I'm sure you will find the same.
And Christine?
Hi everyone, I'm Christine Kerner. I'm the Director of Secondary Mathematics. Oh, we got an echo going. Director of Secondary Mathematics for the State Department. I've been in this position a little over 2 years now, and prior to that I was teaching math and language arts in Illinois, Colorado, and Oklahoma. And so I'm happy to be here. I did want to add there is a math-specific Edpuzzle recorded webinar on our SDE mathematics page. And so after learning the basics of Edpuzzle, if you want to see the applications to mathematics, please visit there and visit the professional learning opportunities page, and you will find it there. I'll link it too.
Great. Well, we are so glad to have you join us, like I said. After spending numerous hours in video conferencing sessions such as Zoom, we just know that it works best to establish some session norms. So for this session, please remain muted in order to decrease distraction for other participants. But even though you're remaining muted, please be present and participate in the chat box. So place your questions in the chat box, and Elizabeth and Christine will help keep up with those questions. And then we'll also have a question and answer session at the end where you'll be able to unmute and ask any additional questions or share any of your Edpuzzle tips and tricks. During this session today, we just have 3 main goals. We're going to learn how to create an Edpuzzle account, and I'm going to mute myself just while my clock goes through, and maybe Christine or Elizabeth could finish the slide.
Yeah, so
Go ahead, Elizabeth.
okay. So you'll learn how to create an Edpuzzle account, and then we will see Karen create some Edpuzzles for us, and then share Edpuzzle usage ideas around the group. I know we have a mix of grade levels and disciplines here, but I'm sure a lot of us have some common ideas on how we could use this in our classrooms.
Thank you. That grandfather clock gets me every time. I knew to be prepared. You know, if you have ever shared a video with your students in a class, you probably felt like this. And after you see how you can use Edpuzzle, hopefully you will never feel that way again. So what is Edpuzzle? Well, it's a free formative assessment tool that allows teachers to create interactive online videos by embedding questions, notes, comments, audio notes, and it's just pretty awesome. So it also allows you to crop a video so that you can only show what you need. How many times have you wanted to share a video with your students and it's a 30-minute video and you really only want to share the 14 through 15.5-minute mark, but it becomes very difficult to go through and pause it and fast forward and get it set for each class? Now, it's so easy with Edpuzzle to just share the parts of the video that you really need. And this tool is great because it can be used by students of all ages. So I mentioned it's a formative assessment tool, and I just wanted to again define formative assessment. A formative assessment is an assignment or assessment that a teacher uses to give feedback to students and or to guide instruction, and is generally not used to give students a grade. In Andrew Miller's article in Edutopia, the article was named Formative Assessment is Transformational. He says, with formative assessment, all students increase their capacity for success. All students are getting what they need, when they need it, as opposed to when the teacher guesses that they need it. So we've talked a little bit about formative assessment, and let's learn how Edpuzzle can help teachers assess student comprehension. But before I go on, I just want to put out a disclaimer. Over the past 2 months, I've been offering sessions to help you become familiar with some of the commonly used ed tech tools that are available. If you're interested in using one of these tools, your first step is always to speak with your administrator or the director of your IT department for your district or school. It is the role of the IT department to ensure that all constituents know that the tool being used is vetted by the school and is safe and appropriate. Individual school districts handle this vetting process differently. Some allow teachers to do this individually, while other districts require a submission process and the IT department does the vetting. My goal with all of these sessions is to hopefully provide you with possible tools for future use. And the more value that an ed tech or an IT department sees in the tool, the more likely they're willing to invest time in order to vet for its usage. Okay, so with that said, I do want you to know that Edpuzzle is both FERPA and COPPA compliant. So FERPA is the Federal Education Rights and Privacy Act, and COPPA is the Children's Online Protection Privacy Act. So in order to assure their compliance, Edpuzzle actually is one of the tools that seems to go out of its way to make sure that users are aware of all of the requirements behind it. They have their own printable template for parent consent permission slips. So, you know, the more transparent an ed tech tool is, that just provides so much more feeling of safety when using it. Okay, so now that we've gotten some of that out of the way, making an interactive Edpuzzle is a simple 3-step process. You select a video, you add some questions into that video, and then you're able to share that interactive video now with students either via a join code or possibly in an LMS. So, getting started. First of all, you do need to sign up. So when you click sign up, you'll just click sign up here, and it's going to ask you if you're a teacher or a student. Obviously, you're going to select teacher. And then it provides you the opportunity to sign in and create your account either with a Google account or with any other email account you have. If you are a Google school and use Google Classroom, obviously signing in with your Google account would be your best step, because it allows all of these programs to work in conjunction with one another. So now I'm going to actually step out and go to the Edpuzzle website. And welcome back. I've already registered. I'm going in as a teacher and I am signing in with Google. And now we're going to see just how simple it is to use this. I'm going to give you a tour. On the left-hand side, when you first come into Edpuzzle, you come into their homepage. I always taught my students, there's no place like home. If you get lost in any site or anything, look for that home and it brings you right back. The next option down is your curriculum tab. And this is pretty awesome because Edpuzzle already has teacher created and educational organization created content. And right now, without me even needing to do much, I can go in and select to view either elementary content, middle school content, or high school content. I'm just going to select middle school content, and it lets me dive even deeper. What is the specific content area I want to examine? And then what subconcept of that do I want to see? And then it will be coming up with, again, even more specific information. So it's not making you dig through tons and tons of information. It's kind of weeding out and seeding out everything as you go. So now I am ready. I have various videos here, and I'm looking right now. I can see a couple of things. I can see the title of the video. I can see the length of the video. But I can see right now that although there are videos here under this tool, none of them actually have embedded questions. So I am going to go back and see if I can pick another, oops, same one. Let's see if I can pick another region. And of course, well, let's go back and pick a completely other topic. I'm going to go in here to math. And oh, great. Okay, so now I have lots of different videos, and this little icon right here, it kind of looks like the I am here button that you would see maybe on a Google map. That tells me that there are 8 questions or notes that are already built into that specific video. So it gives me something to start with. So I'm going to select this video. And once I open it up, obviously I would need to preview it to make sure it aligns with the content or the information I'm sharing with my students. But down here in the bottom right corner, I have 4 options. I can take something that someone else has already created and edit it for use with my class. So maybe I love this video. I love 5 of the 8 questions, but I want to delete 3 questions that are already within this one and add my own questions. So again, I don't have to start from scratch. I can make a copy of this video. Maybe I really like the video, but I just don't want to go through and delete all the questions. I can make a copy of it. I can immediately assign that to my group of students if it's just the way I want it, or I can share it with others. So first I'm going to make a copy. And when I make a copy of that, it is actually going to place a copy of that video. I'm going back into my home screen. I'm going back down to my content this time, and look, the video has gone from that massive amount of video selection, easily found now within my specific content. So far we've talked about home, we've talked about curriculum, and I want to show this tab right here. This is a school tab. This is a actual school in Georgia where I used to work. And the teachers there would go ahead and create all of their videos and share them within that domain, so that if there were teachers of the same content area, they were able to go through and either see what videos students have already seen so that they're not duplicating, or they're able to take something and again, edit it for their classroom, or just go ahead and use it. So now I'm going back to my content, and this is great. So I am going to look at all of these videos here. I can add new content immediately. and this, like I said, is great. I can create a video. So if you joined me last week, we learned how to create our own screencasts, and I was using the tool Screencastify. So if I have that saved on my computer, I can then just easily upload that video that I've already created into my content and be able to edit and add questions from there. So not only can I use pre-created videos, but I can also use uploaded videos of my own. Before we go on and talk about creating content, I want to go back to the left-hand side and show you some of the options for pre-created video content that's easy for you to pick and choose from. We've already kind of talked about the fact that Edpuzzle has its own repository of videos that people have just shared there. Maybe you want to use a YouTube video. You can just type the YouTube video URL in here, or maybe I just want to search on my own and something comes up there. I can also go down, and we know Khan Academy has some wonderful videos that can be shared. Maybe you've already taught content to students, but sometimes you have students that maybe need that information shared with them in a different manner. So here's a great way to view and combine your actual instruction with some of the Khan Academy videos as well. There's National Geographic videos, great opportunities for sharing if you're talking culture or social studies, geography, science. I know that there are also some from TED Talks, which we all love TED Talks. And if you notice, again, many TED Talks are like 20 minutes long. These are broken down into shorter sections. We can edit them even further, but that way you're not showing like the super long video. There are web videos from Vertasium. There are websites from Numberphile and websites from Crash Course. These are really cute short videos that you're able to use, especially for science, computer science, and math instruction. So now, before I go on and show you how you can actually take a video and personalize it and make it interactive with questions, I didn't know, Elizabeth and Christine, are there any questions in the chat box that need to be answered first?
Yes, there are a couple. Let's see. I'm scrolling back. There was one. We don't have a referral code, correct?
We do not, no.
Okay, I wanted to make sure. And then if you are sharing a link through an LMS, does a student need to have an account?
No, we're actually, that is a great question. And I'm going to show you the two different ways that you can share videos so that you can actually have specific student data, or just share a video and have students go through without collecting specific student data.
Okay, and then I believe those are the main questions. So you're good to go.
Okay, so we've talked about some of the things that are already built into Edpuzzle. I'm going back to my content right now, and I am going to open up actually one that I pulled in from YouTube that I created last week for Screencastify. And I'm going to, first of all, good, I'm going to mute it because I do not want that video going. You know, there's something about hearing your own video or your own voice. So I've taken a video, pulled it in from YouTube, and on the right-hand side, I've already done a couple questions. But let's see some of the options we have for editing this video. Down here on the bottom, I have the ability to kind of scroll on through quickly. And on the bottom right-hand side, let's pause that, that's horrible. I have the ability to directly assign it, or I have the ability to edit it. So I'm going to select edit right now. And this brings up a slightly different version of the same video. And now, after I've looked this video over, I have the ability to drag, there we go. We don't want to hear it again. I have the ability to drag this bar to where I want the video to begin. So maybe I don't want any of this. I want this video to start specifically at the 5-minute and 6-second mark. And I have the ability to trim the end of my video as well. So I just took an hour-long video and I can shorten it to, now there's only 20 minutes. And we know student attention and best practices for sharing videos are really to share short spurts of a video, maybe 4 to 7 minutes, so that we're maintaining student attention and we're focusing on the specific information. So once I've done this, I've got my short video and I don't have to share the whole hour-long video. So now I'm going to come over here, and if we look up above that editing option, I have 3 versions and I just cut my video. The next option is to create a voiceover. So many of the videos that we're already using already have audio, but sometimes maybe the explanation in that audio caption is not exactly what you want your students to hear, or you want to be able to share your own explanation. When I do voiceover, of course, my internet is being kind of
Slide deck, and or Google.
There we go. But I can select a certain spot in the video and I can go up here and start recording, and I can record over that audio, which is pretty awesome. And not only can I do it, maybe say I want to record over it at the 1 minute and 12-second spot, and maybe make a 1 or 30-second video or audio voiceover. I can do that in multiple spots across the video. So it's not like you're only selecting one spot and then it's a one-time deal. I knew you were gonna do that, sorry. The UPS man has come and my dog seems to enjoy making sure that I am quite aware of that. Okay, so we've talked about cutting your video. We've talked about voiceovers. And now we're going to see if we can talk about how can I insert my own questions. So when you go to insert questions, you have actually 3 options. One's not really a question. I have the option to insert multiple choice questions. And again, it's spot specific. So when a question comes up in the student view, the video will pause and students have to answer the question. Well, depending upon your settings, have to be able to answer that question before they're able to continue in the video. So I can type my question here. What standards are being covered in this section? And if you notice down here, initially they give me 2 responses. I am able to type, I can add other response choices down here, and maybe the 3rd one is going to be my correct answer. So I'm able to have multiple correct answers, or whichever response has a check mark beside it is the one that this program will automatically grade as correct, which I think is pretty cool. And what I also like is, I'm gonna type a response in here, student standards, and I know I spelled that wrong, but I can also provide feedback for students on each question. So since this is denoted as a wrong answer by the X, I might say, maybe you should try this again. Or on the correct answer, maybe my feedback is, great, you were listening, that's fabulous. Not only can I type my questions in here, but I want you to notice some of the tools that are available. I'm able to make certain words bold to draw attention. I'm able to make certain words italic, so that way if you're talking specific pieces of art or books or movies, you're able to do that. I can underline things, and oh, you math teachers, I have superscript and subscript. That's not all. You'll be more excited in just a few minutes if you're a math teacher. I can insert links to other outside sites or maybe documents that I want students to open. So if we use Google Docs, I can just drop a link in there. Maybe they actually need to type their response in there and also submit it online. I can add images as well. or insert an equation. So check this out, math people. We have the ability, both as a teacher and a student, to use a full, well, pretty full, I'm not a math person, a pretty fair amount of equations right within my question. Okay, so when I have all my responses, and I can say, I guess I need to, it's not going to let me save until I have all of my responses typed. And I guess then I should be able to save, and it will go wherever in the video that I need it to go. And for some reason, it does not want me to save it, but it will put it right there. Of course, it never works when you want to. I also have the ability to add an open-ended question. So let's try this here. Now it's going to let me save. I can type in, what did you feel at this part of the video? And again, I'm able to add all of those little details to my question and save. And notice, this is right about here. I can see it will coordinate with that specific part in the video. When I press save, I now have a new little kind of like teardrop right at that spot in the video. And that tells me that a question has been inserted there. What I really like about this is I'm able to add 2 or 3 questions at one time if I want, or maybe I just want to have them go forward and answer multiple questions as they progress through the video. So it's very adaptable, and I really like it that way. So, you know, students can't just sit there and you told me to watch this video. You're able to see and have them participate. The last option for the question was another one that,
Styles,
there we go,
formats,
let's pause that once again. You're also able to add notes to students. And at first I was kind of like, well, why in the world would I really want to do this? For a note, I am able to add audio. I can add text, type them in, pay close attention to this part of the video. This is something that's really specific, and we're going to talk about this in class tomorrow. I can record audio and put that in there so students actually listen to me, maybe restating something that was just shared, or maybe asking a question, something that I want them to concentrate as we go through the next section of that video. Again, I'm able to add external links. So as you go to this part of the video, I'd like you to open this Google Doc and have this ready so you're able to take notes on the specific steps for this math problem or a combination. So I love, not only are you able to ask multiple choice questions, which are graded automatically within the tool, open-ended questions, which you're able to go back and read the different responses, but you're also able to leave students notes to kind of direct their learning. Well, after I have entered, oh, notice on the left-hand side, I get an overview of everything that I've put into that video. I can see the specific time that students will encounter that. I can see the type of question, and that's kind of nice. I can go back and forth and look through there and see maybe I need to adjust that a little bit by dragging that little icon a second or two so it's just exactly where I want it. Any questions before I go on?
I think we're good.
Okay, this is such an easy to use tool. It's almost like one of those no fails and kind of easy to share. So I previewed my video. I've added the video to my content. I've gone through, I've edited it. I've added voiceovers if I want to. I've embedded my questions and my notes. Now, what do I do with it? Notice, I love this too, it saves automatically. I remember how many times I was sitting there at one point in time in college or grad school and forgot to save a paper and you just lose everything. I love any tools that save automatically so that you don't have to worry about that. So now I'm going to press finish and it's going to give me some wonderful options. Again, I'm able to maybe preview my video, make sure everything is just right. On the right-hand side, again, it is telling exactly the specific to-do questions. My notes are not listed there. That's just kind of something that I can do. Down in the bottom, I can see my play, my rewind. I can see the location of each of the questions. Students or you can adjust the volume for your specific playback, and then I can make it full screen if I want to. In the bottom right, I have some other tools, so I can assign it. We've already talked about editing it, but you know, there's nothing to stop you from taking what you've done and be like, oh, I have another question I'd like to add. So, you know, there's never really a hard end. You're always able to edit. Maybe I want to duplicate it, and like I said, there's my content and my school content if I want to share it so that others have an idea, I'm able to duplicate it. Or maybe I'm going to duplicate it and use this with my first period class, and a slightly different video or slightly different questions with my second period class because we've covered different content. I can delete it completely. And you notice I have the ability to make it public or private. Okay, so public means that anyone can see it that are within the Edpuzzle website. Private would mean it is private specifically to me and it's only shared with those that I want to share. Okay, so new folder. Oh, this is another thing. I loved this. So I'm going back to my content, and under my content, another thing that I think is very handy. Again, I have all of my videos here, but I'm also, when I go to add content, I have the ability to create a new folder. So that way, instead of having this massive amount of videos just piled there, I can create a new folder, and maybe I'm going to call it math. I can create a folder description. Notice it's not going to let me save the folder description until I give it a actual description. So I'm going to say fractions. I don't even remember what that was about. Save. And now I can go down here, and any of those videos that I click in the little box to make a live, I have the options at the bottom to assign, to delete, or to move to the folder. And then it even asks me which folder do I want to move it in. So I'm able to remain organized if I'm a person that finds that this tool is something that I frequently use. Within this, I don't think, can you make a subfolder? Can you make a subfolder within a folder? Let's see. It does appear that I am able to make my own subfolders within folders, which again, to me might be great because maybe I have an idea that I want to use these videos my first 9 weeks and these videos my second 9 weeks, and I'm able to organize and just kind of get it all set. Okay, so now what? I've created videos, I've got everything ready. What can I do to share these with my students? Up in the top right-hand corner, and again, the slide deck that's shared with you after today's session will have step-by-step instructions with all of these areas highlighted or circled and arrows and notations made so that you're able to follow the step-by-step on your own. I can go up to my classes, and I am able to create classes that will make it easier for me to share this information with. So I can easily go here to new class, and I have two options. I can either create my own from scratch new class, or if I signed in with my Google account that's associated with my school's G Suite, I can select Google Classroom and import my classes. Now, if you're doing this through this manner, this would be something that you would be sharing with your older children, because it would involve some, not actual logging into Edpuzzle, but it is taking the information from Google Classroom. So it would have student names involved. So that goes back to the parental consent form at the beginning. I can also just create a new class. Maybe I'm going to call it 3rd grade. And I do not have to design or add a description here. But this time I have 2 different class options. classic that will allow you, remember there was another tab up in the corner that said gradebook. And if I want to assign a video and know specifically how each student individually responded to my questions, and it's tied in through Google Classroom, I would pick Classic. But again, remember that involves all full parental consent. Open is a little different. If you're an elementary teacher or just want to use Edpuzzle for quick practices, your students don't actually join the site or nothing is connected. They have a join code. And what's really cool is there's a box here that says, let Edpuzzle generate student nicknames. So that way, when you see student results, you're able to kind of take an overview of the whole class, but it does not tell you specifically if Tommy or Susan responded incorrectly to a question. So I'm going to click create a class. There was also an option to import a class. So I have my class here. It's called third grade. Right now, I do not have any assignments due and I do not have a due date, but I am going to right now create an assignment. So my dog, silly thing. Class options, I'm able to generate a code to share it with them. I'm able to lock the classroom once my students have joined so no one else can join that class. After you've shared that generate code and maybe all 29 or 32 of your students are in the classroom, you can lock the classroom so that no one else has any options to join. If you get a new student, you just unlock it, share the code, and then you can lock it again. Okay, so I am going back to my content and I'm going to say that I would like my students to view this video about Jackie Robinson. I can see it's 3 minutes and 28 seconds long and it has 5 questions. Let's say I've already vetted those questions. They're questions that I've entered. I'm gonna select the check mark box and say assign. Now, I can assign it to all of my classes. I can assign it to one specific class, and I could go ahead and assign it, or notice it gives you the option of later. You can set it so that it's published and shared at a specific date and time, which is nice. I could even create a new class on the fly if I'm just doing something and I found this video, I haven't had the chance to set everything up yet. I'm gonna create a new class, do it open, share the class code, and it can just be something really quick. I'm able to set due dates. I can say that I would like this video viewed and all the questions completed by tomorrow at 11 a.m. and save it. Or I can just leave it open and say, you know, I would like you to watch this video. I'm not giving you a specific due date. Here are some other options that I really, really like. Maybe I do not care if students are able to skip through the video and skip through the questions. But if I turn that on, they are only able to progress through the video as I want them to. Video, question, no skipping. I'm also able to turn on closed caption for those students that need that. And I think that is another wonderful option, because we do need to make sure that whenever we're providing work for students, that it's accessible for all of our students. Okay, so I have assigned it. Okay, one last really cool thing. So I've created my assignment. Down here, I also have the option of going live. So I can share a video. Maybe I share it with students and have them do it as a station rotation within my classroom. I would not do the live session. Maybe I'm sharing a video and sharing it through Google Classroom or sharing it so that they complete it as homework. I'm not doing the live mode. But here, if I select go live, I love it. Once again, it's very intuitive. It reminds you you're going live. That means you are going to, as a teacher, project the video and all students will watch it at the same time, but they will each have their own individual devices in front of them, or you could do it by group. And you will share your screen with the students using a projector. They will go to Edpuzzle and open their class. And as you view or share the video with students, it will pause when it comes up to the question, and the question only will appear on the individual student devices. And you can either set a set amount of time and give them, okay, you've got 30 seconds to answer this question. The movie or video will not progress until you, the teacher, determines that it should progress. And I'm going to go back and go through my presentation because I want to show you what some of this looks like from the student and teacher view. And we're almost there. When finished, I've added my content, I've shared my video. Do you have parental consent? New classroom, assigning. So this right up here is what the student would see. I don't want to do that. There we go. Okay, so it shows them the question. It shows them their response. And if they've gotten it correct, it will have a green arrow, or the green arrow will be pointing toward the correct response. So students individually are able to see and gauge their understanding. The teacher can also see an overall summary of all of their students at one time. And I love that because then it provides the teacher two options. The teacher can continue on with the video if they were happy with the responses, or they have the ability to re-watch that segment of the video as a class, and maybe there's some reteaching opportunities that are available, and then they would come and have the same question again. And I thought that that was a pretty neat addition to this tool. Let me see if there was anything else on the Go Live. Oh, I wanted you to see. So if you were joining, this would be projected, you're able to go. And here's what the students see and what you're projecting as a teacher. So we've got our video going on. I'm gonna skip ahead as a teacher so you can see.
The racial struggles they encountered only strengthened their bonds.
And that's what the students would see. It would pause right there, and they would have that question. And again, if the teacher does not care about seeing the responses right now, they're able to even discuss some of the responses and determine if they need to rewatch it, or if they want to skip, or if they want to continue. So before we go on and talk about some of the possible practical application uses in their classroom, are there any questions over creating accounts or navigating within the tool?
We've had a lot of questions in the chat, but I think we have answered all of them within the chat too.
You know, I'm so thankful for teachers that when questions are posed, I love the interaction between each other in the chat and the fact that teachers help answer each other's questions. And so thank you for those of you that provided some responses.
There was a question about the free account versus the paid account and the storage. They were noticing that there was a 20 video limit. Is that a 20 video of your own videos, or is that 20 videos total?
That is 20 videos total. And I am so glad somebody mentioned that. If you've attended any of my past sessions, I make sure that the information I'm sharing is pretty much only for the free version of everything. I know teachers already have spent enough of their own money, and school districts may not be able to pay for some of the upgrades. What you can do is, you know, you can make your own notes. Maybe you have a Google Doc that you keep the links to your YouTube videos and your questions right there in a Google Doc, so that if you reach that 20 video limit, you can delete a video and refine that video and add it again the following year. So you don't have to completely start from scratch.
And then can you see open-ended responses, like what do you notice type questions when you're going live? And can teachers see those responses?
Yes, teachers can see those responses when you go live. which again is wonderful. Obviously not automatically grading, and that would require teachers to go back and look, but we know that we're better able to gauge student comprehension when we do provide them the opportunity to have open-ended responses. Anyone can select A, B, C, or D and have a 25% chance of getting it right. Right, Christine, my math friend?
You got it right. I also want to add that everyone is a math person. You mentioned that you weren't earlier, and everybody is.
She tells me that all the time, and if she continues to say it, I'll believe it. Okay, well, let's move forward and talk about, again, I've introduced the tool as something that you may want to consider. If you have attended all of these sessions, I'm going to provide another disclaimer. I provided information on 6 tools so far. You, as a teacher and as a user of tools, really probably want to select maybe 2 or 3 that you and your students can become very familiar with. We know that in times of distance learning, you're often not able to rely upon parents to provide assistance with tools. So you need to make sure that the tools that you select to use are, first of all, approved by your district, are easy to use for both you and students, and meet your specific needs. So, okay, so some usage ideas. Again, we've talked about the fact that, first of all, best practice, we know that a lot of class time has been wasted when you share a 30 or 45 minute or 60-minute video with your students. And really, you can have a better use of your class time if you just show the sections that are most important. And best practices say normally that is about a 4 to 7 minute video. And during that 4 to 7 minute video, maybe you're only presenting 1 or 2 items. So if you reflect back to the Edpuzzle option, you are able to duplicate videos within your content. So maybe if there's 2 different sections of the video you want to share, maybe you crop one section and add questions to that part. And then you have a duplicate of that and you're able to change that. So maybe they're watching something toward the end, because unfortunately, when you edit the video length or crop it, you're only able to do the end and the beginning. So, and always remember to try to make connections to existing knowledge. So even if it requires you creating your own screencast, then you're able to say, do you remember when we did this last week? Or we've talked about this in the past. It's important for us to make connections so that it'll stick, make learning stick. We also want to make sure that, especially if you are creating your own videos, that you have a balance of auditory and visual cues. I know that I'm a person that is very, I'm a hand talker. So we want to make sure that it adds to it and it does not take away. If you're using music to introduce something, make sure it's enhancing and not overwhelming, and that you're engaging and exciting without overloading your students. So, specific ideas. Blended classrooms. So think about the fact that I kind of referenced centers earlier. We know that even middle school and high school students can use centers. And this could be a great idea that they go to a certain spot within your classroom, or maybe, you know, not all of them are doing this at the same time. One group of your students is watching this video and another group is watching this video. You could also use it for flipped classroom situations. And just to make sure everyone is, I know we have a lot of ed tech terminology out there, and just to kind of clarify what a flipped classroom would be is students are watching that video some other time prior to your instruction. And maybe that gives them a little background knowledge, or again, I kind of said like a Khan Academy might provide another method of explaining something, so that when you get together as a class, students may have already come up with questions that they can ask of you, and you can spend that class time working with them. If you are a person that is into screencasting, maybe you are sharing assignment solutions, or maybe you found an assignment solution and you want to do your overload video so that you're explaining it again in your terms, or an explanation of an assignment. So think, you are about to share with students a project, a multiple step project, and you want to be able to show them all the steps of that project. Maybe this Google Doc comes first, and then they're going to use a slide presentation. So you could create a video that they can refer back to, and you can pause it and ask them, so what step comes next? Or what should I not forget to do before moving on to the next step in this project? And again, there are so many excellent videos that are already created in this program that you're just able to take and use and edit as you see fit or need. So, I've already mentioned creating your own screencasts. I have not really talked about some of our younger students. I've seen some wonderful opportunities for sharing of videos. Some of the videos are letter sounds or word building. Maybe it does not even have any questions embedded. If we send our students a direct link to YouTube, you know that on the side you see all of those links to other videos, which may or may not be appropriate, and there's just so much clutter. You can easily share videos with your younger children within Edpuzzle because it pulls out all of that other side information. And I don't know if you are familiar with Storyline Online. This is a great tool for probably your younger learners where famous people will read stories, and they have already obtained consent from the authors, so there's no copyright infringement or legal issues with using it, because we always want to make sure that we're careful about that. So maybe students have a story that you want them to hear at home, and you're able to even dump some questions in there. So what do you think is going to happen next? We've talked about rotation stations. And as we increase the use of educational technology in our classrooms and with students, we need to make sure that we're diligent in including information and lessons on digital citizenship. Common Sense Media is a fabulous resource for this. And as Common Sense Media is really good at doing, they have all kinds of pre-created free materials in here. Some are digital citizenship, some are other information, but pretty much everything in here is vetted to make sure that the information is age appropriate, but we obviously never depend upon someone else. We always want to make sure we preview everything before we share it, just to make sure it fits with our school's values. I know I shared a lot of information. I'm hoping Edpuzzle is something that you find useful. I'm trying to make sure that I'm sharing lots of tools and tutorials and ideas with you. If you've been in past sessions, I want you to know that I've updated something. In the past, I just had one, there we go. I just had one database, and it was just general education technology videos. And I found that it was becoming just too big. So what I've done is I've created on this website right here, which when you get the slide deck, it is an active link. I now have two different databases. One is just for general tools that are commonly used. Again, the State Department of Education is not endorsing or approving any of these tools. These are tools that I have received numerous requests for training. So this is because of need and questions. So you can see up here, Canvas, Nearpod, Flipgrid. This is constantly being added to. As long as I find quality tutorials, I'm adding them. I did also change, so it's not just all video. I've included some text tutorials as well. Maybe some that are able to be printed out so you have a hard copy. I know some people would rather have paper in front of them or a website telling them step by step, and some of them are video. So that is another one of the filter levels within this. Then I've created a second database specifically for Google tools, because there are so many different Google tools out there. And I want you to know that some of these cross paths, because I know that I've got like a Google Classroom tutorial where it integrates with Edpuzzle, or a Google Slides that integrates with Pear Deck. So, you know, you probably want to make sure that you're looking in both of those places if there's something that you're trying specifically to find. Again, it's filterable by tools, even by users. As we go into the new school year, during periods of distance learning, students may need access to tutorials. And you can take some of these links and just share them with your students, maybe through your learning management system. There's also tutorials for parents. And I think that that's really important because one of the concerns parents are having is they're not familiar with many of these tools. And why not give them some of the tools that will help them support their learners? So that is what I have for today. Before I ask for questions or comments, I just want to make sure that before people leave, you know that if you have registered, obviously you wouldn't be in here if you haven't, but I will send a follow-up email this afternoon, and that will contain a link to the slide deck. All of these sessions are recorded and are also housed on this tutorial database website, so that you're able to go back and view or share with other teachers in your school or district or friends. And please know that I'm here, well, not physically in the office, but when you get the slide deck or my email, I have my email there, and that is the best way to get in touch with me. I want to make sure, I know our entire Department of Education is here to help you as we move forward. Please make sure you use them. Email questions. We're very good at finding responses or connecting you with someone that will help you and support you. And just remember that we're here as a resource. So if you have no further questions or things that you would like to share, I'd like to thank you for joining us. Next Tuesday will be our last Tech Tool Tuesday session, and it is on Seesaw. Even if you are a middle or high school educator, you may be interested, because I do know that some middle schools and high schools incorporate some of the tools within Seesaw. So hopefully I'll see some of you there. And if you're still here, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and you are welcome to unmute and share any successes or other ideas that you have had. And wait, let me stop share. There we go. Great. I also would like to thank Christine and Elizabeth for being such wonderful co-hosts. Sometimes when there become so many people, it is kind of nice to even have more than one. So the help and support is great. Top 3 tech tools for middle schoolers, and especially math. Christine, I'm going to let you jump in, but I'm going to throw out 2 tools that I haven't really shared yet. There is it whiteboard.fi, which allows students to write. There's also Formative, which again, if students, especially if they have stylists, they're able to write, and it makes it easier for them to solve the math problem and maybe narrate it. Christine, do you have any other thoughts specifically for middle school math?
She had to go to another Zoom meeting at 1.
Okay. No worries. So yeah, thanks again for my dog and the patience. You know, he's quiet all day long and it never fails. But, you know, that's part of the reality of our situation right now. And I just appreciate everyone for allowing him to join us. He's a very sweet guy.
Doesn't look like we have a lot of questions, but something that ran through my mind was that when I was teaching 5th and 6th grade music and choir, every week we studied a different composer, and we would watch YouTube clips of film scenes, because like John Williams, all of that was mostly film scenes, or orchestra clips, etc. And if I was going to translate that to an online experience, I could put the scene of Elliot going in front of the moon in E.T. into Edpuzzle and add questions in there about what are you hearing? How is the music? At the end of it, you could ask like, how did the music build? What instruments did he use to manipulate your emotions and help you feel like you were flying with Elliot, etc. I mean, there's all sorts of things you could do. There's so many things out there on YouTube already, besides using Screencastify and other things with it.
Has anyone else out there used Edpuzzle and has something that they could share? You can even stay, you don't have to show your face. You can just share your audio. As with other sessions, if you find it helpful and you found some good information in the chat, if you go down to your chat box, there is the opportunity to save your chat. It's a little squarish shape with 3 dots, and you might think of it like a hamburger. And if you click on that, you are able to save the chat. I like to go back and do that and refer to all of the information shared. And again, just thank you for taking the time out. My thoughts are with you as you go into this new school year. When you face challenges, make sure you turn to others, share ideas with me, because many times the things that you shared with me, I'm able to share with other teachers. And again, some of your thoughts and concerns and questions are things that other people are thinking as well, and maybe they just don't have access to voice. So, you know, your questions are things that can lead to information that can be shared with others. Okay, well, thank you so much for attending. Have a wonderful afternoon. Hopefully it doesn't rain on y'all, and we'll see you later. Bye. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Thank you.